What's going on? Um, First and foremost, everybody, I would like to say thank you so much for the support that has kind of surprised me as I learned to be a better content creator and all that stuff. I was not expecting my long-winded Papa Geek video to do as well as it did. I was just venting frustrations after a long night and reflection on where the game has gone. So to all the new subscribers, thank you so much. For all those that took time to make comments on my video, thank you very much. I love the interaction. I love being able to have the dialogue. I understand I can't make 100% of the people happy 100% of the time, but you know, it's fun. I like reading through the comments, especially when it offers different perspective and constructive feedback. To the trolls, I don't care. That's all right. You do you, I'll do me. It's where it is. The question I want to pose to everybody, though, now is, if a veteran player says, no, I'm not going to do a help, I don't want to take you through the end game, I don't want to take you through that dungeon, are they being toxic? Unpopular opinion? I don't think so. And I'm going to tell you why. So let me preface that. There are several types of veteran players out there, just as there are several types of new players and casual players. And I'm going to try to define what I mean by that really, really quickly. I want to keep the video shorter than 30 minutes. There are veteran players that log into the game, they love playing the game, and they love helping people. I like to consider myself one of those people that like to help people. Done a lot of Sherpas, done a lot of help streams with other streamers. I don't particularly stream D2. I don't want to be known as a D2 streamer, but here I am making another video about D2. So, so I think there's those veteran players that like to help people, and I think there are those veteran players that just want to log in, play the game with their friends, and then log out. And there's nothing wrong with that. That might be the unpopular opinion, though. It is not their responsibility to teach a new light player how to play the game. It is not their responsibility to teach a casual player how to play the game. All veteran players at some point in their time were new to Destiny. They didn't know what the mechanics were. They didn't know what the abilities were. They had to sort themselves out. They had to figure out where to go and what to do. And that could have been just from playing the game, because there's no replacing experience. It's the best teacher. Could have gone into Discords. Could have gone to a couple of websites. They could have gone to YouTube and watched some videos and tutorials, and they could have hung out in live streams. I'm sure there's other things that I'm missing, but we all were there at some point, and we all used various tools to get us to a point of where we're not being newbies, that we could actually go do the end game. Then there are, so those two types of veterans, I think. Those that want to log in, play, have fun, don't want to be bothered. And then there's those that generally like to help people. And we're not going to talk about bugs or anything else that might be deterrents for us in the game. That was covered in the previous video. And then there's types of new players. There's new light and casual players that generally have fun with the game, want to learn, and want to be able to do the end game. And of those types, there's some that know how to go out and do it and accomplish that in different age groups. And there's some that are too nervous or too embarrassed to do it and don't know how to do it. And so they get frustrated really easy, and they just don't want to bother with it. So they just do solo play because they might have been embarrassed once or twice from trying to do an LFG or something. And then there's the other category that I like to say is the new light casual player that doesn't want to do anything and wants everything for nothing. They don't put any effort in. They don't want to exert themselves. Nothing. And I see that. I've seen that quite a bit. Now, you're asking, why am I bringing this up? Well, as I was going through the comments, which I'm trying to respond to and interact with as much as possible, I had one comment. We ended up going back and forth a little bit. And I blocked out their name. I don't think they're a bad person. I think because they did change their statement a little bit. But I'm going to read it. I'm going to respond to it. And at the end of this, I'd hope to get everyone's feedback below. Number one thing I think I continue to see with the game is veterans bitching about being burnout and bored. We're not bored. We're not burnt out. We just, like for me at least, I'm not bored or burnt out. If I was, I would uninstall the game and go do something else. I have the game installed. I play it once or twice a week. Right now, about once or twice a month. But I have plenty of other games to go do, and I have plenty of other activities to do with my family. I'm not burnt out. I go do other stuff. Yet not helping new players to accomplish endgame content. Again, unpopular opinion, I don't think veteran players, it's a responsibility to help new players accomplish endgame content. It's not our job. There's plenty of resources out there. And technically, I'm not even going to use the term technically, Bungie, straight up, should make the game teach the players how to do endgame or how to get there. Now, Lightfall is going to introduce better matchmaking and LFG inside of the game, which it's needed forever because no new player really knows I'm going to go download the app, I'm going to use the LFG app or anything like that, especially if they're one of those new types of players where they get embarrassed easily and they don't want to be making mistakes and get made fun of and all this other stuff. I have joined several clans and got a few clears on some raids and dungeons, but for the most part, all of the vets are salty and unwilling to help. Maybe you joined the wrong clans, because I know a lot of clans out there, including Kmart shoppers when I'm in. We love helping people. We don't just do helps on stream. We do helps all the time. Online, offline, off stream, everything. I say delete the game and leave then. Why should I leave the game? Because I made a video that said I'm frustrated with Bungie because they can't seem to fix the core game, because they can't seem to fix the bugs and the intrusiveness, and they're developing a subpar product that inside of an enterprise realm would get me fired if I was a software developer. No. And then he says, you are the reason the game is getting toxic because I don't help new players. The game is more popular than it has been in a long time, and there are a ton of new players you could be helping accomplish their first raids or dungeons, but you choose not to and complain about how bored you are instead. Okay. Didn't say I was bored with the game. I said I was disappointed in the game. Also, you apparently did not know my content, and you have no idea what I do inside of Destiny 2. But, again, I'm going to say this. It is not a veteran's responsibility to teach new light players or casual players how to play the game. If the game is properly developed and implemented, it should do that for the player. It should teach them how to start playing a Titan or a Warlock or a Hunter and what the abilities are, walk them all the way from A to B to D, and get them to a raid. But it doesn't. That's on them. That's not on the veteran players. My response was this. I've helped many new players with various raids, GMs, and dungeons. It's rewarding in its own way, helping others through those activities, especially given the lack of matchmaking on several of those activities, master raids and all that other stuff. I 100% understand your frustration with endgame and getting help, but after hundreds of Sherpas, and I've done a lot of Sherpas across many raids, many dungeons, and many grandmasters, it helps. I believe I've done my best to help where I can, when I can. Being part of regular help teams for players, like I do help streams with CB Gray and Vegeta Plays and a few others. And again, we don't always do helps while we're online. We don't always help do with them. Kmart Shoppers, the clan I'm in, we love to help people. Doesn't matter if people see it or not. We just go do it. Calling a veteran toxic who has literally done hundreds and hundreds of raid, dungeon, and GM helps shows a lack of understanding, quick judgment by the new players. Again, this is somebody said I was toxic or implied in veterans in general based on the clans and they were salty. And again, that goes into the fact that they could be salty from doing helps, and they might have done lots of helps. And the reason I stopped doing helps, and I'll tell you that in a second, I want to finish this, and then I'm going to get into it, and then I want your guys' feedback, is because there are certain types of players that show up in those raids that make it no fun for us at all. So once I pointed that out, he says, I didn't mean you specifically were toxic, but right here you said you are the reason the game is getting toxic. No, I'm not. Nothing to do with the raid being toxic. I don't think veteran players cause, by saying no, I'm not going to help a new light player, is the reason the game is toxic. There's many other things to that. I'm not going to go into that. But my comment here is veteran players that don't help new light and casual players do endgame, they're not toxic. They just want to play the game. I didn't mean you specifically were toxic, but I have noticed many veteran players share your frustrations. Tone change. I agree that some in-game activities should be better rewarded, like day one raids, master raids, etc. I also think that Bungie does a decent job of listening to the community and making adjustments. Yes and no. We'll agree to disagree on that one. Because they do listen in some aspects, but other aspects, they do not. The upcoming Warlock buffs and exotic weapon changes are good, for example. The TWABs, yes, I get that. I can't speak to your experience with the intrusive nature of their software snooping on your PC, since I'm a console player, but I think if you were savvy enough to figure that out is happening, you're probably smart enough to disable it. Let me explain something real quick to segue out of the veteran thing. Background on Geek. I have been a professional IT person, staff member, whatever you want to call us, in computers professionally since 1995. I have specialized in cybersecurity for the last 18 plus years, and I have been a principal highly specialized in data forensics and analytics, data science for the last 6+ years. Before that, I specialized in incident response for Fortune 500 government companies when there were intrusion breaches and things like that. I got to work on a lot of really interesting cases, and that's what I do, and I love that stuff. I absolutely love it. And I can tell you right now, if you do anything to the Bungie's Battle Eye, you will get banned or kicked. At the minimum, you'll get kicked from the game if you tamper with it, and you will also get banned in some instances. So it's not something you do. And that is something that Bungie has to fix on their side. Anyways, going back to the conversation, are veterans toxic if they do not help casual players or new light players with the end game? I don't think that they are. And again, as I said before, if I'm in a raid help, say like with Vegeta, and it's a 6-hour, Vegeta gets with us, usually he'll reach out, we'll have a 4-man stack team, we do 2-man carries. Meaning we take 2 people that haven't really done it before, want some help or whatever, and we'll bring them through. And the first thing we usually have to do is we look at their gear, we look at their loadout and what they're running. And some people take exception to that and they're like, well, you're judging me. No, we are not judging. We are just assessing. Now, the judging part might stem from the fact that during regular LFGs through the app and everything else, there are a lot of groups that pick people up. And if you can't do it and they look at your gear, they're just like, whatever, get out. And they kick you out about it automatically. No questions asked. If you screw up 3 or 4 times on an encounter, they kick you out. That's toxic behavior. That's an unfortunate event in the game. I unfortunately can't control that. But for our help streams and for our help runs and when we're doing our stuff, we just look at that so we can know who to pair you with, who's better suited to help you out. Is it a specific class? Or you have some weakness? Do you not have a certain heavy weapon versus another one? An example would be King's Fall with the sisters and the changes on Master. You can't use rockets. You technically you can, but it's better to use like a linear or something that's a little more forgiving. So that's the first thing we deal with. The other thing is those help streams usually take us 6 hours. And if it's my regular raid team, we can get most of the raids done within 45 minutes. And a master, we can usually get done in an hour. But when we're doing carries, those raids go, instead of being an hour long on average, they can go upwards of 2 hours. So in a 6-hour string, we might be able to get 3 completions done, meaning we get 6 people through. But where the burnout in this case comes from, or the frustrations that come out, is there's, again, like I was saying, there's a couple types of players that show up. Those that just want to be carried and don't do anything, don't listen, don't pay attention, and they frustrate the crap out of us. And all of a sudden, something that should take an hour and a half, 2 hours becomes 4 hours. That frustrates everybody in the stream, all those people on the wait list trying to get in to get some help. And that just really, really irks me because they just, oh, I want to be carried, I don't want to do anything. And then, so that is where probably a lot of these guys that are salty, the vets are salty towards trying to do helps, is they just, the person shows up, they didn't watch any YouTube videos, they haven't watched any streams, they know nothing about the raid, they know nothing about the mechanics, and it's just okay. Then there's those people that show up that generally want to learn how to do the raid. They may have watched a video or two. They may not have. They've watched the stream a couple times. They don't truly understand, but they really want to learn. They're willing, but they're not good. They don't have experience yet in that realm, so they can't be good. Once you've done it once or twice or 3 or 4 times, yeah. And then if you're running, a lot of these guys, if they're running with streamers, bigger streamers, they've got this nervousness about them where they really overstress and they don't want to script because they don't want the streamer to think bad of them. And I can tell you right now, the guys I run with, CB and Vegeta, never judge anybody. These are 2 of the nicest guys in the world, right? We just want to help. But when you get somebody that's really nervous and doesn't know, and they genuinely want to, but they're super, super nervous, that can also slow things down. And so again, all of a sudden you have a raid that normally takes an hour and a half, taking 2-3 hours. And that's not the fault of them. But as a veteran player, we're playing the game. We play it for fun. And if we're doing these helps and everything like that, we're there to help. We don't get anything out of it other than the satisfaction of knowing that we helped somebody accomplish it. If we've run it 3 or 4 times on our characters, we don't get any rewards for it. We don't get any drops. We get spoils. Okay? But that's not why we do it. It's when the persons or the pit players that we're helping become so difficult that it sucks the life out of us. That's when we start getting salty. And unfortunately, I would say 2/3 of the player base out of there, maybe 80% of the player base out of there, are just people wanting to learn, and they get frustrated when we're working through it, and they start learning and everything else, and it's a lot of fun. And there's that 20% of the player base that can just kiss my butt. They feel entitled to a carry, that they don't have to do anything. You guys are good, you're the elite, you can just carry me, and I'm not going to have to do anything. That's the wrong attitude. And again, we're here. We're not making money off of streams. We're just here to have fun. We're here to help people. That's the bottom line. So do I think veteran players should have to help new light and casual players accomplish endgame? Whether it be the raids, whether it be PvP? Nope, not at all. If they want to come in, escape reality, they go, they work the 9 to 10 hour day, they get home, they're wanting to relax, they want to log into the game and go do some stuff and spend some time with their friends or go solo something, maybe queue up here or there. That's how they relax, that's how they de-stress, and they don't want to do anything else. That's their prerogative. That's them. They should not be deemed toxic if they don't want to help. Now, if you join a clan that says they're there to help and they don't help, that's a whole different thing. I'd find a different clan. So again, I'd love to know in your guys' comments down below what you think. Should veteran players have to help new light players and casual players learn how to do the end game? Is it a requirement? Does it make them toxic if they say no? I say it doesn't. I say that each person wants to learn everything else. I started this, and as I said before, if you want to learn and you want to get into the end game or anything else, go watch some YouTube. Go hang out in some streams. Go figure out the loadouts. Take some time to read through the things. It's an end game. Any end game activity should not be dumbed down. It should not be easy. Now, also, I think Bungie has a lot of improvements to make. We'll see what happens with their matchmaking LFG systems that they're bringing into the game, inside of the game with Lightfall. But I still think things are going to be broken, and I'm still leaving my pre-order canceled until I see what changes are coming. I need more technical. The reasons I left the pre-order and canceled it was more technical in base and less about things like this. Anyways, thanks everyone for watching. Again, I appreciate all the subs. This is a topic that it breaches outside of just Destiny into other games as well. I do not believe it is the responsibility of any veteran player to teach and carry someone through the end game. If they want to, then that's fantastic. But they shouldn't feel obligated to. The game, the developer should have things in place that do that. Anyways, I'll see you all in game or wherever we're at. I will be streaming here on YouTube next week for God of War and all those other things. I love every one of you. I appreciate your feedback. Let me know in the comments below what you think about this. And again, so all of you, to everyone that subscribed to the channel and left comments, you guys are amazing, and I greatly appreciate it. You all stay safe out there, and I will see you around.